Hey everybody, today my guest is Stewart Williamson. He is an extremely talented bit and spur maker as well as a jewelry maker. And when I started chatting with Stewart here, we just kind of jumped right into the conversation. So I just am recording this little intro and then I will get right into our talk.
Hey, well, I was born in 1960 in southeastern New Mexico. My family's ranched there for probably 120 years, roughly. So I grew up around the ranching cowboy world, and I just always, from the time I was a little kid, I was fascinated with cowboy gear. So when I was in junior high, I started trying to learn to braid and fooled around with that for a few years. First braiding nylon and leather, then trying to learn rawhide. Gave up at that. That's the most difficult of all these cowboy crafts, as far as I'm concerned, and
Okay.
should be more appreciated than what it is. So then I started doing leather work, and this was all as a hobby. I had no, just like most cowboys, I had no intention of ever doing it as a living, just for fun and as a hobby. So then I started like making spur straps, head stalls, a few leggings, things like that, and was just tinkering around doing that. And in the mid 80s, mid 1980s, I started seeing pictures of bits and spurs first that a guy named Erlon Shirley had done. And he was in the Texas in the Lubbock area, and he was just ahead of his time on the scroll work and the file work. And then I started seeing pictures of Mark Dahl's work, and it just started building an interest, me building an interest in this. And then I'm going to say around 90, early 90s, I started seeing, well, before that, I saw stuff that Jeremiah Watt had done. And then started seeing pictures of Ernie Marsh's work. And that just took me over the top and put a desire, but I was too busy to do anything. But I just spent a lot of time thinking about it. And I guess it was 2003. I went to Johnny Wyatt's engraving school, and I thought if I like it, I'll get the equipment and start. And if I don't, I'll quit thinking about it. Well, I just fell in love with it. So I came home, bought the equipment, started, and by accident or the good Lord helping me out or whatever, I just kept meeting the very best in the game, and they seemed willing to help me. And that's how I got going at it.
That's really neat. And so how long now have you been making bits and spurs?
So I went to the engraving class in 2003, in January of 2003. And so I came home, started trying to learn to engrave. At that time, I had a little feed yard and I had it leased out. So I had income coming in time. So for about a year and a half, I just sat there and engraved anywhere from 8 to 12 hours a day on just copper practice plates.
Wow.
And I started making a few little like bracelets, earrings, just little things I could saw out of silver and engraving. It wasn't very good, but that got me going. And then in in 2004, I kind of delved off and started trying to build some bits and spurs.
Okay. I pulled up Wildwood Jewelry. You make jewelry too, is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
so that came about a
I'm
dozen years ago or so.
I'm gonna show you these pieces just so everybody
Yes.
can see. These are just absolutely stunning pieces.
So that started purely by accident. I did a pair of spurs for some friends, and they were just to go on a mantle. They had 5 carats of diamonds mounted on them. So I got the jeweler who I'm partnered with on Wildwood, Danny Woodward, and he's somebody I've known all my life. We were friendly acquaintances. So he mounted the diamonds on the spurs. That's the first time we'd done anything together. I had no interest in getting into jewelry. So
Yeah.
somebody saw the spurs, said, "Hey, would you guys do a ring together?" And somebody else asked, and it eventually we finally became a partnership at that. And so that's a sideline for both of us.
Wow. Yeah, they're absolutely stunning.
Well, thank you.
I'm trying to find pictures of your bits and spurs. I'm pulling up your Facebook here. Do you mind me sharing?
Not at all.
Hang on, let me. Because these are just absolutely stunning works of art. I
Well,
mean,
thank you.
that's one reason I wanted to talk to you is
So
preserving
the
preserving artisan skills is so important and interesting to me.
So I had never had an art lesson in my life. All I'd ever done is cowboyed basically. I didn't
Yeah,
even have any building skills. So I think I had less abilities than anybody that's ever started this craft.
really.
And I'm not exaggerating at this. So I've just kind of, the one edge I maybe had, I'm really willing to take criticism.
Ooh,
So I would show my stuff to, and I'll name the guys that helped me a lot when I was getting going: Wilson Capron, Russell Yates, Matt Humphreys, Gary Wiggins, and Justin Walker. And I mean, I'm going to leave a few out, but like I said, through accident or help from above, somehow early on, I met all the, or a big chunk of the best makers in the Southwest, and they were willing to help me. So that really sped up the learning curve.
so it sounds like getting really good at your craft requires that you be humble, open to those signs that you're getting help from other people and taking
Yes.
criticism, I think is the most important thing you said.
And that's really hard to do for people. I mean, we all have egos.
Yeah.
But if you can put your ego in your back pocket, and I watch other people who's starting now, they'll ask for criticism, but they don't really want it, though.
Yeah.
Most of them. So, but I did. And Matt Humphreys, who's one of my closest friends, he started just a little ahead of me, but we did a lot of things together. And that's something we both wanted: critiques of our work, and it
Yeah.
paid off.
So where do you see the future of this industry? I know we chatted a little bit about that before, but
So I would call this the Renaissance age of cowboy gear, all of it: saddles, bits, spurs, rawhide, the whole deal. There's so many people getting into it today. There's so much educational educational opportunities available today. And I'm shocked how many people have gotten into it, say the last maybe 10 years or something. Because when I started, there was only there'd be somebody here, they're getting into it. There's droves of people getting into it now. And there seems to be room for everybody. That's what shocks me. So the demand's growing along with there's more makers, but there's more demand. So it's all balancing out. Knock on wood.
wow. Yeah, because these are not just utilitarian gear, these are works of art.
No, and I also say we, and this started before I got into it. Like I say, guys like Jeremiah Watt, Ernie Marsh, Wilson Capron, they, it went from just being using gear to, I mean, they've taken it to high art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly. I
And
mean, those spurs are so gorgeous, you almost don't even want to put them on.
yeah, and it amazes me that the majority of this stuff gets used, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. And do you find young people who are coming into this now are open and humble and wanting to be critiqued?
The ones that get better, yes.
Okay.
So it separates them out pretty fast.
That's really cool.
The ones that don't. And I have to tell a story here. So early in my career, I met Dave Alderson. We were at the TCA show in Oklahoma City. Matt Humphreys and I'd gone just to watch. And Wilson Capron brought Dave Alderson, who's one of my heroes, up to our motel room to look at the work Matt and I were doing. And Matt was ahead of me and still is ahead of me. He's phenomenal. But anyway, Dave looks at Matt's work and brags on it. And he looks at mine, and then he just drops it on the bed, and he turns and looks at me and he said, "Well, good thing your wife's got a good job." That was that. I mean, I felt like I'd been hit with a hammer, but that was absolutely probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because that lit a fire. I thought I had a fire under me, but that lit a bigger fire. And I went home and really got after it. And Dave remembers that. I mean, he didn't know who I was, so I've never asked him. I got to think he saw that I had a little ability and, he was trying to light a fire. But anyway, it worked. So I owe Dave for that. But not everybody would have taken that, though.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And it hurt, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but it was fuel. And I try to tell people when things like that happen, use it as fuel. Don't let it get you down.
Yeah, that is a something that separates somebody who's going to go far with something and somebody who's going to peter out is their ability to use things as fuel, as you said. Because this industry is tough and any art form is tough.
Yes, extremely tough.
Hmm.
It's hard to make a living doing something creative,
Hmm.
and you're not going to make a good living at it. But it doesn't matter. If you're doing what you like, you're your own boss. That's good enough.
Yeah.
And the people I get to be around, I mean, there's so many good people in these crafts. It's a lot like a. I tell people when I go to these shows, it's like going to a family reunion in a family where everybody actually likes each other.
Oh, yeah.
We just have a blast. We don't see each other a lot, but when we do, we have a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. Has the industry changed in the way that you're producing these? I'm sure it has changed over time, but is that changing still?
Yeah, it's so, like I said, it was like creating a monster because people start doing these art pieces and there wasn't a clientele geared to paying for those kind of pieces.
Yeah.
So we're working our way through that right now, but there's more and more people becoming willing to pay for it
Yeah.
because the time and I don't consider what I do art, but the time, I'm sorry, somebody's
That's okay.
buzzing. The time when you start doing nicer work, it just takes an incredible amount of time compared to just building a plain using piece.
Yeah.
So it's hard to charge enough. In other words, the people building really plain using stuff are probably making more money a year than anybody building really nice stuff.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
a labor of love.
Yeah.
And but things are changing. There's more and more people who are willing to pay more for this stuff.
Yeah, and that's such an interesting dichotomy between the way the world is pacing versus art, because when you buy a work of art, it takes a long time, it costs a lot, and you have to wait on it.
Yes.
You have to wait however long it takes for you to produce this piece, and then you get a completely unique piece, whereas the world now is so catered to fast-paced, mass-produced
Hmm.
on-demand sort of a stuff. So I think it's so interesting that these artisan crafts are having a renaissance.
Yeah. And people, I mean, there's some people that don't want to wait anymore, but there's still a lot of people that are willing to wait. And
Yeah.
it's a tough deal. People do it differently. I can so like some makers say they're building a bit, they're going to have everything drawn out
Hmm.
before they go, how they're going to engrave it, exactly how everything. I fly by the seat of my pants. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's the only way I can do it. That's how I live life. So I'll build the piece and they may say they want their initials, brand, whatever on it. But for the most part, I'm left alone on the silver work and the art, how I
Yeah.
doctored up. And so I'll get it all built and then I'll just start drawing then, and whatever comes to me then's what I put on. So I'm not, and I don't think this is good, but it's the way I operate. So
I can relate to that 100%. That's how I've been doing business for 10.
yeah, and it's not how you should do business, but I think we're free spirits, and if you're a free spirit, that's how you operate.
Yeah, and it gets like I get really irritated at anyone trying to organize the flow
Yes.
because you get the inspiration and you have to act on it right there.
Yeah.
And when you put things in an organization, it just kind of stifles the creativity.
It does me. I think everybody's different how they operate, and I
Yeah.
might be working on something and a different idea comes to me for some completely different deal. So I have to stop that and go to the other. I mean, I'm the ultimate in inefficiency.
Yeah, I can relate to that too. I'm writing four books at the same time.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, it
But
is.
one thing I've got to mention, like I said, there's a lot of new people coming into the game, and
Yeah.
it's so when I and it wasn't all that long ago that I started, just over 20 years, but there wasn't any Facebook then. The internet was just in its infancy. So as far as like I'd never really looked at a computer till the early 2000s when I started this. So then I'd get on there and look for a picture, just trying to come up with an idea. And
Hmm.
I might look for an hour and find two photos of a bit.
Mm.
It just, well, so the people starting today, there's thousands of photos at their fingertips,
Hmm.
which really speeds up the learning curve for them and just the amount of education out there. But the flip side is, to me, with all that became available, and it's good for all of us, and you get to sell over the internet. But I miss the excitement of going to a show where you haven't seen anybody's work,
Mm.
and to walk into that show and just be in awe of things. And so the technology has removed that, and I miss that part, the excitement.
Yeah. Do you
I'm
find that the
so I'm not
culture,
griping, I'm just commenting.
yeah. Do you find that the culture of selling is better or worse, one way or the other?
Well, it makes it somebody can get going a lot faster. I mean,
Yeah.
without Facebook, out of my little area, nobody would know who I am.
Yeah, I was trying to remember before we did this call. I can't even remember how I found out about you, but
I
I've been,
bet it was through Facebook.
it probably was because I've known about you for I think 10 years.
And at one time, I had a Bit and Spur website. At one time, I got so far behind, I dropped it.
Yeah.
But the bulk of what I've got is either come through Facebook or through shows.
Yeah. And so
But
where,
the word I was trying to remember before, anticipation.
yeah.
The anticipation of going to a show, I'd get so excited just to go see what what everybody done, the new stuff. And technology has killed that. It's all at our fingertips. So young people don't even know what anticipation is.
Well, that's what I was getting at is if you commission a piece, you have to wait on it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And we don't experience that very dopamine anymore.
Yeah.
You want something, you click it, it's there. And if you have
Yep.
any delay, there's disruption in your dopamine hit. You're
Frustration,
getting,
huh?
you know. But commissioning a piece of art and having to wait on it and not knowing what it's going to look like, that's something I miss too. I wish we had more opportunities like that.
Yeah, and I really do feel sorry for young people today
Yeah.
because they're never going to know the excitement of the anticipation, wait, and then finally seeing or finding something out. They
Yeah.
missed out on that.
Yeah. That really does add to the enjoyment of getting and having something like that, especially such a beautiful piece of work like a handmade bit or spurs. So you're making bits, spurs, jewelry. What else are you making?
That's pretty an occasional buckle, a
Okay.
few odds and ends like that. And the jewelry, I'm just engraving it. My partner's Danny Woodward. He's a second generation jeweler. We grew up in the same area. He's a year older than me. I have no memory of not knowing him. We've known each
Yeah.
other all our lives. And so he does the fabrication and stone setting, and then I do the overlays and engraving. And it's
Okay.
been a really fun deal because we're really close friends and we just have a blast working together. And we live about an hour and a half apart now. He lives in Santa Fe and I live in Taos. We're both originally from eastern New Mexico, but we both
Okay.
live in northern New Mexico now. And we just
Okay.
have a ton of fun working together.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
So, how can people find out how to get a commission piece from you? I know I've got you on Facebook, but is there a manner you like to be contacted in?
Oh, the best way is just to call or text me, and that number is 575-760-3320. And the jewelry is Wildwood Jewelry. We have a page on Facebook and Instagram for it. There's also a website, wildwoodjewelry.com.
Yeah,
But
I
the
think
but
I'll pull that.
the best way is just to call or text me.
Okay. I'm trying to pull that up so that people can see it. I've got you here. This is it, right? Wildwood Jewelry.
Yes, yes.
And this is your number, 575-760-7660.
That is my partner's number.
Okay, perfect.
But if they want jewelry, they can call him or I, either one.
Okay, well, this is the Facebook page,
Yes,
and then that's how we can get a hold of you.
yes.
Those are some absolutely brilliant pieces. I had a ring made by you. Um, Gosh, when was it?
I hate to admit this, but I don't even remember. But I don't
Yeah.
remember what I did yesterday. As I've told you, my memory's awful.
Yeah, you made a wedding ring when I got married
Okay.
like seven years ago.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stunning.
Well, good deal. Well, send
Yeah,
me a photo of it sometime.
I will. Yeah, I will. Um, oh, what other thing? You told me to remind you you had a story about Temple Grandin. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, okay. I'd completely forgotten about that. So prior to getting into this, like I told you, I grew up in the cattle business. My dad had a ranch and a grow yard both. And then later on, when I was in my early 30s, I got a grow yard of my own. So we're getting in cattle multiple loads a week, processing a lot of cattle. And I mean, I'd grown up around it, worked tens of thousands of cattle, thought I kind of knew what I was doing. Well, Temple Grandin back in those days, and maybe still, I don't know, she had an article every month in Beef Magazine. In one month, it was how to run cattle through a snake or lead up into a chute. Well, it's completely backwards of anything I'd ever done or seen. And so I reread the article and I just get mad because I thought this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And so the next morning, I go down to work cattle and I think I'm going to do her deal and just prove to myself that it won't work. Well, lo and behold, it did work. And so then I started fine tuning it. Well, then it really worked. And I mean, it just got, I'm not going to explain the whole deal, but it just blew me away. And it's completely backwards of how 99% of the industry does it. And I don't know. I'm removed from the industry now. I don't know if maybe it's caught on. I have no idea, but it just blew me away, and I became a huge fan of Temple Grandin after that.
Wow.
Like I say, I had to put my ego in my back pocket,
I'm
and
sensing a theme. This is the theme.
yeah, but in that one, I really thought I knew what I was doing there, so I was going to prove her wrong, but I didn't. She proved me wrong.
I'm writing
I'd
that.
love to meet her one day and tell her thank you, but
I bet she'd love that.
I doubt I ever get the opportunity. So I've read her books and she's amazing.
I did an interview with her.
Oh,
Yeah, it's on this YouTube channel. I
oh,
chatted.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to it. It's really good.
Okay.
She's done a couple interviews with me for my students and stuff. She's a neat lady.
Well, if you ever talk to her again, tell her she's got a big fan in New Mexico.
I will. I will. Is there anything else you want to add? You've given tons of great advice to young
Not
people.
the main thing. So people talk about talent, they'll say, well, you've got talent. Persistence is more important than so if somebody wants to get good at this, if you can see good from bad. Now some people can't see good from bad, and I'm talking about artistically,
Hmm.
and those people are never going to get real good no matter how hard they work. But most people have more creative ability than what they realize, I think. And so it's more about persistence than anything. And what I talked about before, put your ego in your back pocket and take criticism.
Mm. Stuart, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you. We'll
Well,
definitely have to do it again.
thank you. I was nervous because this is the very first time I've done anything over a phone like this. And
Well, now you'll be famous.
well, thank you.
I really appreciate you taking the time.
Me too.
Would love to meet you in person someday.
Hopefully that'll happen one day.
I'm sure we could chat about a lot.
Yes. Well, thanks a million and have a great day.
Thank you, Stuart. You enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.